To order the House Standing Committee on Appropriations and Revenue meeting for Tuesday, February the 8th, 2022, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Annex Room 149. First off, anyone who has a noise-making device such as a cell phone or other electronic device, make sure it's turned to mute or preferably to airplane mode so it doesn't interfere with the very sensitive equipment that we have the benefit of using. Secondly, if you are appearing remotely, a member appearing remotely, make sure you indicate so during the roll call and during the meeting itself. If you're attending remotely, members should post requests to the chat section for comments or questions or other matters. We will monitor that and recognize you accordingly. Does any member have any special guests they wish to introduce or recognize at this time? Representative Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have some very special guests in the room with us today. We have Ms. Tara Wade from Marion County with the Career and Tech Student Organizations for Marion County. There's several in the room this morning. If they can all stand and if the members can please give them a round of applause. And thank you for joining us today. We truly appreciate it. We hope you enjoy your day at the Capitol with us. Thank you all very much.
Very good. Welcome. Any other member recognizing special guests? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Representative Beckler.
In the room.
Representative Bentley.
Here in the room.
Representative Blanton. Representative Bridges. Representative Dossett. Representative Fisher.
Here in the room.
Representative Fleming.
Here in the room.
Representative Flood.
Present in Annex.
Thank you. Representative Fugate.
Here in the room.
Representative Gentry.
Present in Annex office.
Thank you. Representative Hale.
Present here in the room.
Representative Hart.
Present in the room.
Representative Hatton.
Present in the room.
Representative McCool.
Here in the room.
Representative Nemes. Representative Nemes. Representative Palumbo.
Here in my annex office.
Thank you. Representative Prunty.
Here in the room.
Representative Raymond.
I'm in my annex office.
Thank you. Representative Riley. Representative Santoro.
Here in the room.
Representative Tipton.
Present in the room.
Representative Wilner.
Here in the room.
Vice Chair Reed.
Here in the room.
Chair Petrie.
Present, and I think there may have been a couple of members that came in. Representative Nemes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm here in the room.
Representative Bridges.
Here in the room, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else need, either remotely or in the room, need recognition for attendance? Seeing none, we have quorum. We have a quorum, and the first item on the agenda for today is House Bill 6, Representative Sal Santorum, an act relating to valuation of motor vehicles for property tax purposes. And if you will, introduce yourself for the record, please.
Representative Sal Santoro, District 60.
If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And actually, before you do, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, we have a committee sub.
Motion on the committee sub.
We have a motion and a second for adoption of House Committee Sub 1 to House Bill 6. All in favor? All opposed? House Bill, Committee Sub 1 to House Bill 6 is adopted. That is before us. Representative Santoro, if you'll proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. House Bill 6. We've heard a lot about this one. So House Bill 6 follows concerns from my constituents regarding a letter that they received from the executive branch stating that their motor vehicle appraiser values would be increasing by 40% in 2022 compared to 2021. Current law has it that motor vehicles must be taxed according to their fair cash value. The statutory standard used to determine this value is the average trade-in rate, but in 2009, the executive branch adopted a policy that defined the average trade-in to mean a higher value, a clean trade-in. As a result, many vehicles are being taxed at a higher rate than their vehicle is actually worth. This bill would require the property value assessors, or PVAs, to use the average trade-in value as a standard. Now, I want to repeat that. It's the average trade-in value and not the rough or the clean trade-in value. Under the bill, the PVA is able to adjust the value used to assess a motor vehicle, but only if the registrant has provided evidence that the standard value does not reflect the motor vehicle's conditions, options, mileage, or certificate of title issued. House Bill 6 is retroactive, meaning that from January 1, 2022, the assessment date, the portion of taxes assessed on the motor vehicle's valuation is increased, will be exempt, and refund will be issued to those who are already paid. So there will be a refund. Finally, House Bill 6 contains an emergency clause, allowing it to take effect upon its passage of both chambers and upon the governor's signature. If there's no questions, I move for adoption of House Bill 6 as it amended by the committee sub. Thank you.
Anybody have a motion on the bill?
Motion.
And a second. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Thank you for the presentation, Representative Santoro. And I want to make sure that everyone is clear. The issues, as you stated, are two that I can determine. One, there has been a standing practice by the executive branch to use a higher trade-in value, a clean trade-in value rather than average. You've got basically dirty, clean, and average being in the middle of those. That's not consistent with prior statutory language as the General Assembly has viewed it. I think your bill is correcting that.
Correct.
So that would be going forward, and I believe that provision takes effect in 2023. So going forward, it would be an average trade-in value lower than the clean trade-in value that's being assessed currently. Secondly, and separately, issue, it came up by January 6th letter from the executive branch saying that per statute, average values were reappraised, and because of the way the car market was operating, oddly and artificially right now somewhat, those values, appraised values, were going to go up approximately 40% across the board. And if I understand what you have in the next issue of your bill is that we would basically, upon passage of this, hold everyone harmless against those increases of appraisals and the resulting increases of taxes. So in 2022, you would pay no more tax than you would have paid on the 2021 bill. So that would be in effect for this year, and hopefully the car values would come back in line. And that goes into effect retroactively, which would mean a refund back for anyone who has paid, and then an offset going forward through the remainder of the year. Fair enough?
That is fair, and that's good government.
You want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. And then Representative Hatton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for bringing this bill. I too have received a ton of phone calls about this issue, and thank you, Representative Santoro and Mr. Chair, for making clear the reasons that this has happened, that it's been a longstanding practice and that it's market changes. I think a lot of people think that the legislature took some sort of an action that raised everyone's taxes, or that there was some sort of an executive branch order that raised taxes, and when in fact it's market fluctuations. Mr. Santoro, do you have an idea of how much this might save folks on their average tax bills?
Well, number one, it depends on the value of your vehicle. I looked at mine, my truck, and it would be a savings of about $35, I think. So it could fluctuate, you know. Now, you probably have a big SUV, all loaded with everything else. Not like me, a poor representative from Boone County, Kentucky.
That would actually pay $1 for this year.
So it definitely depends on your vehicle value.
Those two combined is what it would be.
Permission to defend myself, Mr. Chair. I drive a little mom mobile, but I have heard from so many people that a new vehicle they bought last year is worth $13,000 or so more than it was when they bought it new. That happened to someone in my family even. So just wondering how much they might expect to save from changing this valuation.
I did call my PVA about my vehicles because I might have to skip lunch a little bit, so I'll be able to pay that tax.
Thank you.
And if I may, understand that us trying to back calculate what the actual saving will be to taxpayers, I don't know that there's any way for us to do that. However, if I can draw your attention to the fiscal note on Committee Sub 1 to House Bill 6, second page, bottom, fiscal impact, it has FY22, FY23. So you would be looking at approximately $67.7 million that would be returned to taxpayers in order to hold them armless. Representative Nemus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the sponsor for bringing this bill. I also sometimes think it's important that the citizens know the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, Representative Santoro has been on this bill for a number of months now. He saw it coming. He's talked to, I'm sure, every one of us, me a number of times, almost jumping up and down, doing cartwheels, saying we've got to make sure that we protect the taxpayers here. This is something that's coming, that's not their fault, and we need to make sure that we protect them. And so, if there's an issue I've heard more about this session, I don't remember it. This is the number one issue, and I want to thank Representative Santoro for being the leader on this, and kind of elbowing us for many months to get this thing fixed to protect the taxpayers in my community and also in Boone County. I would just highlight that if you've already paid, you're going to get a return on that 40% more than you should have already paid. So I want to thank Representative Santoro, and can you confirm that people who've already paid are going to get that money back?
They are going to get it back. I don't know what way they'll get it back, but most of the time it's probably going to be thrown in the junk mail, and they'll throw it in the trash. They won't cash that check, so.
I'm sure they will. Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Bentley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Sal Centauri, I missed the retroactive date. Could you give me that again?
It goes back to the beginning of the year.
January 1, 22?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beginning of the year.
Page 3, line 17 on the committee sub.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that, I wanted to say something else. Every morning when I get up, this is on my internet connections. And every night when I go to bed, it's the last thing there. So the people up in my neck of the woods, eastern Kentucky, it's very, very important to them. So thank you for bringing this bill forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Beckler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Santoro, I heard you say that this was good government. Would you be open to better government?
As long as you would vote yes.
If you'll accept what I'm going to say, it's no problem. On page 3, let's see the line. Starting with line 24 at the end, it says, the department shall develop procedures that enable taxpayers to receive funds. Refunds shall be issued by the Department of the County Clerk. Is that I'm just not sure that would go ahead and require the department to do it quickly. We talk about shall in there. Should we say must develop procedures?
Statutory language is going to preference shall over may, or shall over must.
Over must?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Would you be willing to put a time in there?
There's a 90-day time limit in there for refunds.
I'll probably vote yes, but I'm still questioning it.
Wow. I really greatly appreciate that yes vote.
Representative Hale. Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. They say great minds think alike. I was also going to point out the $67.7 million is going to be going back to the taxpayers in this fiscal year and the next fiscal year. I'll just make one point so everybody's aware. these funds we're talking about, these are funds that go into the road plan. These are not,
General.
is that correct? Or
They
these
go to
general
general
fund
fund.
dollars?
General fund.
These are general fund dollars. I just want to be clear
Yes.
on that. So
General.
these are general fund dollars. Thank you, Representative Santoro. Like everybody said, we've heard from all our constituents. It's been a shock for many people who are living in tight times. Inflation's high. It's tough times right now. And I'm certainly going to support this. I hope the House can pass this out this week. And it wouldn't hurt my feelings if the Senate gets on the ball and does the same thing. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions with a motion and a second on the bill, please call the roll.
Representative Beckler.
Absolutely.
Representative Bentley.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Blanton.
For all my constituents, yes.
Representative Bridges.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett.
Yes.
Representative Fisher.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Flood.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Hatton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Nemus.
Yes.
Representative Plumbo.
Thank you, Representative Santoro, and yes.
Representative Prunty.
Yes.
Representative Raymond.
Yes.
Representative Reed.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Santoro.
Yes.
Representative Tipton.
Yes.
Representative Wilner.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 6, as amended by Committee Sub 1, having received 23 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 passes, will be reported from this committee with favorable expression that same should pass on the House floor. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Representative Riley would like to be counted present off-site.
Please note it. Does he have a vote to cast on that bill?
No.
Okay. Next up, we have House Bill 259, Representative Scott Lewis. And if you will introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Representative Scott Lewis. I represent District 14, Ohio County, and East Davis County.
And you have with you?
Representative John Blanton.
Okay, if you'll both raise your right hands, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed. We have Committee Sub
Motion
2.
on Committee Sub.
We have Committee Sub 2.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion on Committee Sub number 2.
Second.
Have a motion and second for adoption of Committee Sub number 2 on House Bill 259. All in favor? All opposed? We have adopted. We have before us Committee Sub 2 to House Bill 259. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 259, I'm quite honored to carry and bring this bill before you. House Bill 259 codifies the KSP Trooper and Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Officer pay raises that are included in the House budget. House Bill 1 provides for a $15,000 pay increase for state troopers and commercial vehicle enforcement officers below a sergeant ranking and a 10% increase for those at or above a sergeant ranking. According to the DCJT survey from 2021, House Bill 1 and House Bill 259 would increase the starting pay of our KSP troopers and commercial vehicle enforcement from $40,888 per year to $55,888 per year, making KSP a top 5 law enforcement agency in pay and benefits when compared to other departments across the state. To reiterate, House Bill 259 simply acts to align KRS with what has already been done in the budget that we presented
Motion on House Bill 259 as amended by Committee Sub Number 2.
Second.
Seeing no questions. Oh, got one. Representative Wilner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you just help me understand how this intersects or doesn't with the 37.5% raise for KSP that we approved in the House budget?
Okay, this codifies the budget language.
Thank you.
Representative Santoro.
Representative Blanton, with this raise, do we know where our state police will be in comparison to the other state organizations? State now. Do you know where we would rank? By any chance?
We currently are last among our surrounding states, and I think this would put us up to second among the surrounding states that touch us.
And
we are currently last.
And I would note that generally in taking our surrounding states, we generally accept out Illinois because they have such a high scale there that it makes it unbalanced. So that's opting out, or that's accepting out Illinois. That would put us second amongst all the other surrounding states.
I just, brief comment. Back in 1975, when I was a state trooper, we were the second highest paid organization of all the states. And it's a shame where we ended up. Thank you for having this bill.
Representative Hatton.
Just wondering what's different in the committee sub.
The committee sub simply put the commercial vehicle enforcement officers in there also.
And that is consistent with House Bill 1, Committee Sub 1, codification of that. They were included in the budget language. Seeing no other questions, call roll.
Representative Beckler.
Yes, ma'am.
You're no fun.
Representative Bentley.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Blanton.
Aye.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Dossett.
Yes.
Representative Fisher.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
A quick comment, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you very much for bringing this and being very persistent in the budget process and making sure this comes to reality to our state troopers. I hope other jurisdictions, particularly in Jefferson County, take note of our value to law enforcement officers and making sure that we are protected night and day. So thank you all very much for what y'all doing, and tip the hat to the chairman for making this a priority. I vote yay.
Representative Flood. Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Hatton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Nemes.
Very brief comment, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
I want to remind everyone, first of all, thank you, Chair, thank you, the two sponsors, and to the chairman. Make this a priority. I want to remind everybody that in 2016 there was a modest raise for troopers. 2018 we funded substantially new cars and rifles to get them on target. Everything the Kentucky State Police has asked for, we've tried to give. That's our version of defund the police, is to put a bunch of money into it. This is a substantial raise to put police officers at the troopers at number 2 in our surrounding area. So this is a tremendous thing today to show our commitment to law enforcement. And like Representative Fleming, hope other jurisdictions join that effort. I'm a hearty yes.
Representative Plumbo.
Absolutely yes.
Representative Prunty.
Yes.
Representative Raymond.
Yes.
Representative Reed.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Santoro.
Yes.
Representative Tipton.
And briefly explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
On behalf of all of our dedicated Kentucky State police officers across the state, I wholeheartedly vote yes.
Representative Wilner.
Brief comment, please.
Please.
I heartily vote yes. I support our Kentucky State Police and law enforcement having fair salaries and competitive salaries. I've just come from the Education Committee where we've talked about additional funding for police officers. And while I do support this ask, we need to stop having these conversations, these bills, these initiatives to have funding for law enforcement when we're not having parallel discussions about funding teachers, school staff, social workers, mental health professionals across the state. But I vote yes today. Thank you.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 259 is amended by Committee Sub 2, having received 22 yes votes, 0 nay votes, 0 pass votes. Will be reported from this committee with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor.
Motion on the title amendment.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Title amendment is adopted. And there are many conversations going on about education funding. Right now we're dealing with codification of the funding already provided in House Bill 1. No codification is necessary, and the other issues that we continue to talk about where pay is at stake. Thank you, gentlemen, for presenting the bill. No one else seeking recognition. We adjourned.